Hi everyone, I am doing a video over the study of the truth effect. Um, it is by Aparna Sundar, Frank R. Kardes, and Scott A. Wright, published in the 2015 Journal of Advertising. So basically what the truth effect is when a claim is repeated, particularly in a health-related product or of a health-related product, um, the subjective validity to the person listening increases. Thus, the truthfulness and believability of what the product claim is increases. Research began on this in 1977, which discovered that repeating a product claim increased truthfulness ratings. Later on, people found out that it was really just ease of fluency. So obviously repetition, if it's easy to read, if it's easy to understand, if it uses proper language, etc. Finally, Chang in 2013 just blatantly said, fluency of a claim increases with repeated exposure, which is what we are looking at. So there are 4 studies within this particular article. Each study has its own hypothesis, but the overall hypothesis for this study was included, and it states, we hypothesize that individuals who are high in need for effect, NFA, which is the consumer's motivation to approach or avoid emotion-inducing situations, will be more susceptible to the truth effect than those low in NFA. Conversely, we expect that ease of processing induced by repetition will not influence truth ratings by individuals low in NFA. So there were 2 main studies here. Study 1 and Study 2 were the most important ones. Study 3 and 4 were basically just confirmations of Study 1 and 2. So I'm going to start with the overall procedure for Study 1. There were 151 random participants, 2 groups, non-repetition and repetition conditions. A pre-test was performed to evaluate health claims from prior truth effects. Participants had to rate each claim, 1 being definitely false, 7 being definitely true. The participants were given 9 ambiguous claims for the pretest that were rated between 3.5 and 4.5 that were chosen for the actual procedure. 3 sets of 9 dummy tests with the same rating were also chosen. For each product claim or statement that was viewed, both groups were asked to rate each statement from 1 to 7, again 1 being not easy to read and 7 being very easy to read. Then they were asked to rate them again from 1 to 7, 1 being not easy to understand, 7 being very easy to understand. The experiment concluded with an NFA test, which included 26 items that basically were tailored to how people's emotions are measured. Study 2 was basically really focused on the feelings of a person when they trust and evaluate product claims. Basically, the objective was to evaluate if trusting one's feelings when evaluating product claims would increase susceptibility to the truth effect, or in other words, analyzing NFA in relation to the truth effect, mostly in relation to repetition. This test was set up very similarly to Study 1. A pretest was administered, only this one had open-ended questions that were about people's emotions. It was basically an NFA test that was given as a pretest. Then they were assigned to different groups, repetition versus non-repetition. There were 6 groups, and 3 of them were repetition, 3 of them were non-repetition. They were also exposed to test statements and dummy statements just like in Study 1, only this time they were asked to imagine a shopping situation in which they were following specific health and fitness goals before they were exposed to the statements. What the results of this study concluded for us was that repetition can be used effectively in increasing persuasiveness of health-related claims. Most people are very likely to have a high NFA, which means they're more likely to trust repeated claims for health products. But the problem with this is that sometimes the truth effect can be seen as deceptive. but if it's used ethically, it can be a very helpful marketing tool. In order for this to be an effective marketing tool, it's recommended in the study that advertisers use voiceovers or spokespersons to remind their audience that they need to trust their instincts and trust how they feel in order to get the most effect from their advertisement.